So, welcome back to the Out of Chaos podcast, a discussion based podcast where we try to make some sense of the chaotic world we live in. So, with me today, I have the one and only Mia from Reverie podcast.
Woo,
She
woo.
joins me today as we continue our topic on Eros love. For those of you who don't know, first time listeners, we're continuing our series on love, the four types of love, with Eros love, which is a romantic love, is a healthy and common expression of physical love. So, before we get started, just want to ask you to introduce yourself. What do you want to say?
Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Mia Fresco. I'm here today helping Oscar discuss love.
Yes.
I am an expert in love. I have a great love life. Not. No, yeah. I'm just here. We're having fun, and yeah, Oscar, ask away. I'll ask you. Let's get started.
Well, before we get started, just tell me a little bit about your podcast. Like, plug
Oh,
your
yes.
podcast a little bit.
All
Just yeah.
I started a podcast with my really good friend Octavio, and the idea kind of started when we were having like really good conversations just about life. You know how we're kind of in this time right now. We have a lot of time to reflect, I feel, and we're trying. At least I speak for myself. Like I'm trying to find myself and where I'm going, and if there's a deeper meaning or not.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it. And through discussion, with some friends, we started having like really good conversations about interesting topics like spirituality, and how it impacts your life so much. Topics like that.
Yeah.
And so Octavio and I wanted to create a space where we can kind of explore topics, certain topics like that, and kind of figure out for ourselves. Because we hear other people talk so much about things, and then it's kind of I feel this for myself. Sometimes you're like, other people can talk about things and you can't.
Exactly.
Right? You just think that for some reason.
Mhm.
Why? That's so stupid. Like, you can talk about things too, right? So we wanted to make a space for people even that feel like they don't have a space to talk.
Yeah.
Right? Or their voice doesn't matter. We just want to let them know, hey, we don't know everything. We're trying to figure out things too.
Yeah.
But we're in the process of figuring out things. We're having fun. So
That's amazing. Yeah. No, that's kind of what I wanted to do with this podcast too, right? Just talk about like the problems that we see. Again, like we're not experts. I'm not an expert, but I do consider myself like experienced in what I've gone through. So I try to talk about what I would do, what I've done, and what's happened to me. Like I don't talk about the experience of others, right?
Yeah.
So today we kind of talked about a little bit before, but like we're gonna dive into like the Eros love, right?
Yes.
We all have our experiences. It has been a popular topic. So many people have been asking me questions. But I'm gonna ask you the question which we kind of touched upon last episode, but it's, have you ever asked yourself, am I enough? Are you enough?
Damn.
I think it's a question like everybody asks themselves.
I feel like at some point in your life, even if it's not like worded like that, you ask yourself, is like, am I doing like all the wrong things?
Yeah.
Like because this person's not reciprocating my feelings. Am I like, is it my fault? I feel like a lot of people ask those questions, right? I mean, sometimes it is.
Exactly. No, 100%.
Right? Sometimes it is, but
nobody tells you that, especially your family or friends.
Oh
like
my, yeah. There's a lot of, I mean, I feel like it comes from a place of love when you tell someone, it wasn't your fault. Like they're dumb not to love you. You're so beautiful. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people, I feel like it comes from a place of love too, because they worry about you and they don't want to see you hurt. And at some point, if a relationship didn't work out and even if they understand it's your fault, like a lot of people are like, you know what, you're not supposed to go back to that relationship regardless. But I feel like there's a lot of growth also in understanding what you did wrong in a relationship and accepting that it was your fault, that the relationship didn't work out.
Yeah. Have you ever asked yourself that question?
Like if it's my fault?
Like if you've been enough?
If I'm enough. I feel like I've asked myself that question not so much towards relationships, but more towards myself. Like, am I enough? Am I doing the things, or am I enough to do the things that I want to do in the future? And if I'm asking those questions to myself, I feel like that definitely reflects on the type of person that I am towards other people.
Yeah.
So even I don't know, definitely I feel like definitely
what have you done about it? Like how have you handled it? Like, did you overcome it, or do you still feel that way? Like,
I feel like we are, honestly, right now I'm at a place where we're always enough, right? But it's what we do with that matters, because you can be the best person with all the requisites for that relationship, for the job, for the whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not going to do anything about it and you're going to lay in bed all day, like me sometimes.
Remember that time you told me you're like, oh, it's just like in bed the whole week or something?
Yeah.
You're just, we all have that, like time where we're just like, you just want to chill. You just want to, like,
you need to recharge.
You know? Yeah, recharge.
But you need to be careful. Honestly, I felt like I fell into a place where I was like in bed all week, and I called it a me time, but it was not a me time. It was a really bad place, because I was falling into this doing nothing all day, having no routine, waking up at whatever time I wanted to wake up. And then you have no structure in your life. I feel like structure is very important to have. But more about Eros love. Yeah,
because the focus that I'm trying to have with this topic is, like, we kind of touched upon it with our parents, right? Like, the fact that sometimes I don't get it. Like you're told that you're loved, but then the next thing they do something, not just our parents, but anybody does something that like contradicts that. You know, I get it. Like, none of us are perfect, right? So Eros is more like a romantic relationship, right? So, I mean, I'm not asking you to get like all personal, right? But for me, I mentioned it last episode, but I'm going to dive a little bit more deep into it. Like, I was in a place where I thought, am I enough? You know?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to blame the girl. Like, I'm not going to blame her.
Yeah.
And not that I'm trying not to blame her. I just don't think it's her fault. I think it's something that, like, as a kid, I always grew up with. And things happen in life that kind of, like, with a girlfriend that maybe doesn't help you out or doesn't make you feel good. It's just like the cherry on top, or like the drop that overflows the cup of water, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think it was. And for a long time, I asked myself, like, you know what? I didn't ask myself. I literally acted like I wasn't enough. I'm not talking about like months. I'm talking about years.
Yeah.
You know? So it's crazy because I'm not trying to undermine everybody I met throughout those years. But, like, getting pretty deep, like, for my life, for all those times, all those years, I acted and I talked to girls or people that, like, I didn't care. Like, I'm like, since I'm not enough, like, I didn't value anything. You know?
Do you feel like you were looking for some, like, affirmation from these people, and that's why you also felt like you weren't enough because you weren't getting it? Like, you weren't loving yourself, so you're looking for that love. So
you're only gonna hear this here, and I'm gonna be super transparent, okay? So, like, I actually went through a phase where I would purposely try to, like, get those compliments.
Yeah,
you know,
fishing for compliments.
Exactly, like, I would, and this is the thing. I'm not trying to boost, but I would get it. I would actually have girls that even had boyfriends, and not that I meant to do it, but just, like, I'd be nice. I'd be like, you know, make sure I dress properly, whatever. And girls with boyfriends would tell me, like, that they like me.
Yeah.
Or, like, and you know what's crazy? That even though I got all the compliments I wanted, I could have had maybe the girls that I could have gone out with, or maybe, like, the validation that I wanted. It was never, like, I'm not gonna say it was enough, because for me it's like I had the validation and it felt good. It never felt good. Like, I had that, like, I got the validation and it just felt like nothing. You know,
you were definitely getting those compliments because you were showcasing this confident person. Even though you weren't feeling confident.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
But it wasn't enough. That's the thing. It's like putting sand and it just, like, went through my fingers. It didn't feel like enough for years. And it's the thing. Like, again, not a boost. It's just I got compliments for, like, a lifetime. You know.
Yeah. But
it didn't fill me. Like, it didn't. So that question, it wasn't a question anymore. It's like I knew I wasn't enough. Well, I felt like I knew I wasn't enough, right? The
way I look at that, I feel like you were trying to, like you were being confident and you were doing it for other people instead of doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's definitely where that feeling came from. Oh my God. Came from.
Yeah.
That, you know, that feeling of, oh, like I'm getting the compliments, I'm getting the attention, but I still don't feel good.
Yeah.
Because you were not trying to feel good for yourself.
And this kind of goes with the topic, right?
Yeah.
You know, the problem is that people, it's like common sense, like actions speak louder than words, right? But sometimes words actually speak louder than actions. You know, sometimes words hurt so much that I would prefer like a stab, and I would, than actual words, you know? So that's the problem. Like, so it kind of worked in reverse. Like people telling me they loved me, or that I was like special or amazing things. It wasn't like it wasn't enough. And this is the thing, and neither were actions, because sometimes these people would do like extraordinary things for me. Yeah. And it wouldn't, you know? And this is the thing, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like, I never once committed to anybody during that time. I want to say, I'm not gonna deny maybe I might have hurt some people, but like I never committed to anybody in terms of like told them that I was good, because I knew I wasn't good. You know,
why do people run towards relationships so much? I'm gonna be honest with you. I never been in a relationship, at least not a serious relationship, because I've been with people, but I never felt that. When I was with those people, I never felt that I should commit to those people because I wasn't seeing the future. You know, I feel like when you are in a relationship with someone, like if you really want to get serious with that person, I feel like you should see a future with that person, right? Yeah. But a lot of times I look at how people interact with relationships and with love. Yeah. And everybody's just getting boyfriends and girlfriends or other things, you know? And and I'm just like, but for what? And I feel like it is looking for love because you can't love yourself. Yeah.
And what you said is exactly it. This is the thing, for my age, like I'm not trying to sound old, but like for my age, I haven't been in many relationships.
He's an old boy. He's getting gray hairs. Look, the gel's not covering it.
Yeah. Oh my God. No. So no, basically, like I believe what you're saying, which is why it interests me to, like, I wanted to have you on, because I remember you mentioned that to me, and it's so interesting because, especially like in our culture, like I don't know if your culture too, but like, or just, you know what, like in general society, people can't be without like a partner for like a month. They need to be with somebody, right? Yeah. And that's fair, but like a relationship is serious, which is why I didn't commit, you know? Like it was years, right? Because you're supposed to, like, you don't have to commit to anybody that you don't want to, and you have to build first, right? Because that was a problem with most relationships. It's I said it last episode, is like you see a pretty girl or you pretty guy, whatever, handsome guy, or you say hi once and at a party, and then like you just start dating. You know? So there's no foundation built, right? So it kind of works in reverse. Like you guys are getting to know each other once you're committed. Yeah. When it's the opposite.
You know, I've done that a few times, but each time that I've done that, where I'm trying to run for a relationship, because you know what, like I've done that too, like towards a relationship, right? I'm trying to like grab and be like, no, we're gonna be in a relationship. I don't know if it's the novelty of the thing, because I never actually been serious with anybody, but every time that I make that decision, I feel like it's rushed, like you're saying, and it kind of hushes away people too, because people are like, oh, whoa, we're serious, you know? And I have felt that way as well. So it's interesting when the roles are reversed. Sometimes you forget about the way that you feel if someone else was to do the same thing to you.
So, like, what do you suggest? Like, okay, I guess my question is, are you one of those people that, like, I'm not trying to say those people, but like the people.
Are you one of those people?
Are you one of those people that?
Oh my God.
Are you one of those people that?
Man, just swallow it.
Okay. No, I forgot what I was gonna say.
No, sorry.
No, damn it! What was I gonna say? Basically, are you one of those people that you believe you have to like love yourself first.
Yes.
Yeah, right? Okay,
100%.
so I'm asking right now
Okay,
how does
those
that
people
No,
are the
I'm like
best,
that
better
too.
people. Okay,
No,
no, joking.
you know why I say those?
No,
Because
no,
I feel like that's the correct way now.
Mhm.
Because I was one of those dumbos, basically, that I was the opposite. Like my man's over here, like I would literally go and like give. I'm not gonna say like my heart. I've never done that because I'm actually not that dumb either. But like, I wouldn't like give everything, but I'm saying like my attention, my affection, my time. I would go all out, you
Mhm.
know, and that's exactly it's the problem that I was saying, right? I spent so many years like thinking, knowing I wasn't enough, when I should have spent those years like valuing myself.
Mhm.
And the way I got over it was doing exactly that, you
Yeah.
know. But I think sometimes I ask myself, even now, I'm like, did I waste those 4 or 5? If it was 4 or 5 years. Like, did I waste them? You know, 5 years is a long time. Think about it. Like, I was 20 to 25. Like,
Yeah.
most of my like young adult, right? I don't know. I believe everything happens for a reason.
Mhm.
I don't. But I feel like I don't want to say that just because I don't want to feel bad for
Yeah.
just wasting 5 years.
So I don't believe anything is a waste.
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, if I talk about like my life, I've had a lot of things that I wish I didn't go through, but those things also made me who I am today.
Yeah.
So even like mistakes are lessons, right?
Yeah.
And you should take all the mistakes as lessons. Like even if we go into the financial world, let's make some money, guys. No, like right, like you lose money. That's a lesson, and you gotta look at it that way, and you gotta analyze. Okay, what did I do wrong? Why did this money go south instead of coming into my pocket? Like you know what I mean. You know, it's just like it's not okay to focus so much in the negative side of things either, because that destroys you. And I feel like I've mentioned this a couple of times in my podcast as well, but I feel like a lot of times when you focus so much in a negative thing, it's so much easier to fall deep into that and have only negative thoughts than it is if you were happy and to have happy thoughts. I feel like for some reason a dark space is a lot easier to fall into.
Yeah.
But I also believe that it's through in understanding where you're at, and you know, really be in touch with yourself and asking yourself questions and trying to help yourself through the process of healing, that you learn a lot of things even about yourself, not so much about other people. I think we need to take the focus out of the other person and put it more towards ourselves, because I feel like a lot of us a lot of times blame the other person always when something goes wrong. And it's true when people say it's a lot easier to wait to talk instead of listening to the other person, which might end in you changing your mind too. But a lot of us just wait. You might be saying a bunch of things and I'm like, no, that's not true, and I didn't even listen. You know what I mean?
I saw a video like it was like a picture that said some people listen to respond but not to understand. Right. So but like kind of going off what you're saying, like the thing that scares me about that though, why I'm always like iffy, you know, when people say like something specific, like I'm gonna focus on myself, like I don't like saying stuff like that, because we're human. We don't know how to balance things naturally. We always go from like super left to super right, right? So like I'm scared that like when people say like, oh, we gotta love yourself, people go way too much into themselves. You know, I don't know if you think that's right or wrong. I'm not like that. Like, you know how many people have told me to change? Like, Oscar, change. Like, like focus on yourself. What do people tell me? I go, be selfish. Like, even to this day, all my friends tell me be selfish, but like I can't. It's just not in me.
Oscar,
you know. Don't tell me that.
You went to the washroom to gel your hair before. What?
Don't tell me that.
Sorry. Oh, put you on blast.
We're gonna cut this part out. No, joking.
No, but I feel you're right. Definitely, a lot of people can go into and fall into what is it called? Ego.
Right, I can't even.
I do that. Sorry. I mean, you can do that to me.
You have to, you know, for the camera.
So, I mean, it looks great. It looks great.
Yes, everybody go on YouTube if you're listening on Spotify or anywhere audio. So go to YouTube
To check Oscar's hair.
exactly. And
he
look
did
up
it
Johnny
in
Bravo.
2 minutes, by the way. So I mean, maybe hairdresser is a future for you.
maybe. I don't know.
No, but what were we saying? A lot of people fall into that egocentric, space where I'm going to focus on myself and then it's all about them. I feel like there's always a space to care about other people, and you should.
Yeah.
You should care about everybody that's in your life, especially if they care about you as well, right? I mean, you don't have to. That's a lot of times also a negative thing where you over care about people.
Yeah.
Right?
It's one extreme to the other.
Exactly. So to find that balance, it's exactly what you're saying. Exactly.
Because I'm saying this because based on my experience, usually those people that say that like oh, I got hurt and I'm gonna focus on myself. Usually, like 9 out of 10 times that my experience, they go like way too left.
Yeah, it's just go into the whole phase.
Yeah, exactly, and that's not really taking care of yourself. I mean,
I'm gonna slap that ass. I'm gonna slap the other one. Slapping all the asses.
The other cheek, or I'm so confused.
No, it's two different.
Oh, it's two
people.
different ones. Oh my god. Yeah, no.
Damn, man.
I was like studying at I don't know what I was doing at York though at the food court by myself. Not joking. I was like sitting there.
He was eating all the food because he's a fat ass.
Literally, no, basically, and like there was two girls sitting in front of me.
Oh, he was lurking the girls.
I was lurking the girls, and then one of the girls like she started saying like, yeah, like I'm done with guys. Like guys are trash. And it just kind of hit me. And I'm like, I looked at her and I kind of like, she's like, no, I'm so sorry. So I'm like, oh my God. Like, so I think of like what happened to her, like poor girl, whatever. But that's what I'm trying to say. Like, just because something bad, I said it last episode, just because something bad happens to you, and maybe the most horrible thing, like being cheated on with your best friend or something like the worst thing you can think of, that's just that person. Yeah. That person is it's himself, herself, whatever.
It's and the thing is too, even though it's hard to look at it that way, like when people hurt you, people are going through shit too, right? And sometimes them hurting you is them being that person where they're like, I only care about myself. Yeah. Because you also don't know what went on in their life. Like, we're all humans at the end of the day. Yeah. And there's definitely a war on genders. And even men have that speech where they go, well, women are hoes and trash.
100%.
And then girls do the same, right? And it's not healthy.
It's that literally. Do you know a word for that? Like, it's like a teeter-totter. Like, literally, do you know like in the playground, you go up and down like that?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's literally like
it's
left
like
to right.
the life chart.
Yeah, basically.
I don't know. But there was something you said about the way you love. I don't recall exactly what you said, but I wanted to kind of ask you, is like, do you feel like you go through all of those issues and recalling even the podcast that you did on love? What is the love called for your parents?
Storge.
Yeah, the Storge love. And do you feel like the way that your parents loved you has impacted the way that you feel love and the way that you love other people, and even how sometimes you might run after certain relationships or ask for affirmation for other people? Do you seem like that could have a connection? Okay.
I think I've actually, that's a really good question, and I've actually surprisingly have thought about that for many, many years.
Daddy issues.
It's 50-50.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, I think it deserves some recognition, because in a time where like divorce rates are high and whatever, I always like to praise my parents for this, that they're together since they were in high school. So that means because something works, I think I wouldn't be saying that if I see them like try, because there's marriages that work because like they're faking it or they're trying so hard to like make it stick, right? Well, obviously my parents have had ups and downs, but I seen the love that they've had, and I know that that's true love and love that lasts, right? But also, I've had my own experiences, right? And I don't think I've learned from them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, yes, I've learned love from my mom and from my dad, but it's not the love that I think worked at a Eros level.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if anything, like, I'm not trying to call out my parents, but like,
Yeah.
there's some advice that they gave me that was not good. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't work. You know, it
Yeah.
wasn't like what or like,
Yeah.
you know, like, it didn't work. And especially like our parents, like, are old school from back home
Yeah.
and stuff. Love for them is very different. You know, it is
It's
so
a different time too,
It's
right?
a different time, right? So for us, especially,
I
Yeah, no
remember
worries.
my dad telling me that he used to flirt with girls by the window. Who does that anymore, right? It's like sing like a serenata, like like by the window, like nobody. That's like the 80s, you know, with the jumbo box.
the boom box.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Did
The
you say
boom.
jumbo box?
You
The
know, like
boom.
boom boom,
Yeah.
girl, come outside. I got a mixtape for you. You know, like that's love. Damn.
Girl, come outside. It doesn't matter the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but this is the thing. Like, okay, I guess for your question, the time that I felt like that I wasn't enough, my parents' storage love, I guess, like the time of it didn't work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't. In fact, like, I mentioned a couple episodes ago, like, me and my dad didn't have the best of relationships growing up, and so that like didn't help me either. You know, like, the more help you get in life, the better it is, right? From your mom, from your dad, from family,
Mhm.
brothers, sisters, friends. You know?
Yeah, the way I was looking at it, it wasn't even like in their advice or like the help they give you, but more deep into something that you can't even understand, like your subconscious. So my dad, like a little bit why I feel this way.
Mhm.
My dad is a very distant person, and I always feel like I'm running to get some love from him. Like I'm running to chasing him, right?
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Like he won't say I love you first. He doesn't express himself much, and usually his love is through advice, like you're saying, like, oh, do well in school, don't get attached to boys. Like his love is worry, right?
Mhm.
He translates his love through his worries, and he leads me into life or whatever. But I never got like a hug out of the blue, you know, like those
Yeah.
things that show love.
Oh, so you're
that a
saying,
lot
like,
of people-
does that affect you, like, now with your relationship? Or-
And the way, like, and this is me reflecting at
Mhm.
my history of relationships that I've
Yeah.
had. Like a lot of times when I was really in love with someone, right, I would run after that, and I've found that even those people that I felt in love with.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
What are you laughing at? Do I have something funny in my face? On my
it's
face?
just you said daddy issues. Like that's all I can think of. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's just like that's what it is.
My daddy issues are showing, so
I'm
here
so
I am
sorry.
talking about.
Oh my god, I feel horrible.
No. Listen, listen. The way that I picture people, like that I've really felt in love with,
Yeah.
not people that I just liked, right? And that's one of the reasons that I never been in a relationship, because I never felt in love. And then when I do, it's for those people that don't show love.
I gotcha.
It's like the same profile as my dad almost.
Yeah.
And I didn't connect those dots at
Yeah.
first, right? But I was always trying to take care. I was always trying to show love more than the other person, and I was okay with that because that's kind of like how I knew. But I did like subconsciously I didn't know like that was what was going on. Like my subconscious was doing that for me.
Yeah.
But then I was reflecting. It's like, damn, like, why do I always get these dumbasses, hoe chasers? What the heck? Like, what am I doing wrong? Guys, I want a serious relationship. Right? But it was me running after someone that didn't feel the same way for me, but I wasn't recognizing it because it just felt normal. It felt like it was supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be, saying, I really like you, or are you okay? Did you eat today? Taking care, like being the caregiver, almost like even how my mom shows love for my dad, that dynamic, right?
Yeah.
Because my mom's always like giving love, like to compensate almost for my dad not giving love, right?
Oh, really?
Okay. So I felt that I was doing the same thing. Like when I was analyzing my situation, I was like, I am definitely doing this thing, right? And then the discussion just started coming up, and into looking at that and analyzing that, I just started seeing more people talking about the same thing, and I'm like, you know what, maybe it is. And in during your development, those first years of your life are very important in the defining how you feel love.
Yeah.
So that's definitely backed up by science.
Science.
By science. And it's just very interesting to look at it. But what you said is, I also have had my own experiences. I'm also my own person. And now that I'm recognizing this, what am I going to do to change?
Exactly. No, and there's the thing, I said this before, for me, the best teacher has been the mistakes of others.
Yeah.
And I see incoming danger and I do something about it, right? So I'll give you an example, like what you're saying. I have seen it. I've seen some things that my mom could do better. I've seen some things that my dad could do better. And at the beginning, I did like I think like every kid, you want validation from your parents, right?
Yeah.
Like, that you're a good son, that you're a good daughter, or whatever, that you're just worthy, right? But I think early on, and I'm actually pretty proud of this, like early on in my life, like high school maybe, I detached myself from that. Yeah. I'm like, because like what I consider a good kid, like I didn't go out drinking. I didn't like have like girls like knocked up. I wasn't out there stealing in gangs. I would go home early. I would take care of my mom. I would help around the house. So I would consider myself a good son.
And you were still hearing, why don't you clean your room?
Or like, especially in fights, I would hear things that were hurtful and stuff, right? Yeah. I would say hurtful things too. But what I'm trying to say is, I did have a time where I felt, and this is the thing about me, like that when I feel something wrong, I tend to right away. Like I'm not trying to like, especially with my family, I'm not trying to like fight with them for a long time. So I noticed that like I was having this thing where I needed their validation, and I thought to myself, I'm like, I put all the cards on the table. I'm like, okay, am I a good son? Am I a bad son? Do I do more good things than bad? And then when I came to the conclusion, I'm like, I don't care, without the respect of my parents, like I don't care what they say about me. I know I'm a good son. Yeah. And I'm gonna be better. Like not just because like I know I'm a good son, I'm gonna stay there. Yeah. I'm gonna do better every day. So this happened in high school, and ever since then, nothing hurts me. Like sometimes, my mom has told me things, my dad has told me things. Like since then, it doesn't hurt me because I know who I am. Right, so I think I saw that early on. It's
such a pattern. Apparently, it seems that we all have, right? Our parents always saying, focusing on all the negative things that we do, and a lot of us, and I talk for myself, and exactly like what you said, I don't do that much stuff, for them to be like, you're terrible, you're gonna end up in jail. Like I don't do that kind of stuff, right? And still I hear what you're saying. You can't do anything about it. I feel like it's because they lived in a different time. Yeah. And a lot of things that didn't go with their parents, they're trying to implement that because that's what they know as well. Yeah. At least I speak for what I understand of my family experience, right? And they're also learning too. We have to understand that our parents are also people who are learning. And they're trying to implement stuff that they feel right, that sometimes is not even for the era anymore. It
always comes from a good place, I think. Most of the time.
I mean, there's a lot of terrible parents.
100%. Yeah, but most of the time, like it comes from a good place. And the one thing that I do want to commend my parents for, I always say it, is that they let me do what I had to do. Like whoever I dated or whoever I spoke to, sometimes even whichever way I loved, they wouldn't get involved. Yeah. And that's something I see contrast, right? Like I see a lot of parents always get involved. Yeah. And to some degree it's good, because I'm not saying my parents just let me do whatever I want. they would still give me, you know, advice and stuff,
Yeah.
but they would let me do what I had to do.
Yeah.
Because if I
That's
get
good.
slapped in the face, then it's just on me. You know,
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
good.
on anybody
I feel like
else.
my mom's too overprotective, and my dad is, but doesn't show. So then he picks on my mom, and then she becomes triple overprotective
to compensate.
to compensate, you know. And it's just that's just the dynamic. But Eros love. Do you feel like you shape yourself to what you think the other person would like you to be, or have you done that in your life?
I think there's always one person. Like, okay, as I mentioned before, like I am Christian, you know. So
Mhm.
like, in our belief, like it's not like we believe that like the husband usually shapes like the family, right?
Mhm.
So
Do you agree with that?
in a way I do, but because from experience. Yeah, from
What?
experience. And I'm not saying
Yeah,
because
yeah.
at the end of the day, like it's kind of like that nuclear family,
Yeah.
right? That everybody's trying to destroy nowadays, but that's a different topic. But it's like the nuclear family that
I
it's
mean,
just the way it is,
the
right?
men
I'm
for
talking about like a functioning properly nuclear family, not like the nuclear families that we see. Like,
yeah.
you know.
Well, like, do you mean like the men being the care, like
Yeah, provide. You
giver,
can't change
provider?
like nature, right? Like, say for me or most
Mhm.
guys that I know, like especially my friends, like that I talk to, it's just in us, you know, to want to provide. To like even for me, like I'm happy going to work 24 hours a day if it
Yeah.
means that my parents are okay, my mom is okay,
Mhm.
you know. And I'm saying, I'm talking from experience, right? Like my dad wasn't always home, and my mom was a perfect like what's like the role of the mom? I don't know. I just know what she
Like
did.
giver?
Caregiver, right? Like she was like maybe, and that's why like most people are lean towards their mothers more, right?
Mhm.
My mom was always there.
Do you feel like you feel that way because you lived in that family dynamic, and
Yeah,
definitely like
100%.
other people in a different family dynamic would completely disagree?
But this is the thing. I've seen people in the other dynamic,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna say this straight up. Like I don't think they're as strong as me. You know, I don't. And this is the thing. And I don't think their beliefs, not religion. I'm saying like in general, stand longer,
Mhm.
and I don't think they have more word than I do.
Mhm.
And that's not a boost. Like that's just me being confident. It's like working 8 hours a day and then collecting your check. That's not boosting, right? That's just like literally getting paid what you worked for, right?
Yeah.
So something like staying in a functioning marriage, making it work, it deserves a compensation, right?
Mhm.
So same thing. Like usually people who have from a different dynamic,
Yeah.
they don't have the same like, I guess like foundation.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I
You
feel
can't.
like yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Initially you
and
can't,
and I
sorry,
feel
yeah.
like deep down, because of there's millions of years. I don't know how many years have we been on this earth.
Billions.
Like
I don't know.
the human
Yeah,
species. You know how long we've been on this earth, whatever. Like there's a genetic code that definitely translates into how we are today, right? And men have been hunters for a really long time. But I don't see you guys hunting anymore. You know, like women can do the same thing. I feel like where it comes to an interesting like idea, like what you're saying is to keep that dynamic and that safe space at home, maybe where the kids are still in contact with a parent, because to have both parents working all the time or
Yeah.
providing all the time can be hard. But at the same time, then I feel like then the man also neglects the family a lot of
100%,
times.
yeah.
And you say yourself, right,
Mm.
with your dad, like he wasn't so much at home and your mom took care of you a lot more. I feel like we're moving towards a teamwork
And
space.
that's what I'm trying, like this is why I said a properly functioning nuclear family.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Like because let's
Mhm.
say with my parents, I do consider them a nuclear family, but again, with all the respect to them, like my dad, he came from a broken home.
Mhm.
His father didn't like like the love and affection I got from my dad,
Yeah.
he didn't get. So
So it is that thing,
so,
right,
right,
where
but this
you
is the thing.
learn it,
But,
learn
like,
behavior.
You're it's like being washed away though.
Yeah.
So like maybe my dad didn't have that love, and maybe he doesn't. That's why he doesn't have a lot of love, even though he does. But maybe he
just
could have
can't
given
show
me,
it.
yeah, like maybe he could have given me more, right? But I grew up with both of my parents, my dad, whatever. So that means it's my responsibility to do what you're saying, to give my son and my daughter, whatever,
Yeah.
the love that maybe my dad didn't get.
Yeah.
Because the generation is supposed to get better, not worse, right? So what you're saying is that like it gets better. The mom, again, my mom, she wasn't like at home like all day. She was actually working too, and it was a teamwork thing. My dad put us in our place when we needed to. My mom had to like my dad was sick for like a year. My mom went out to get the bread. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nobody, like, for me, that's a nuclear family, but it's still within the parameters. Like, just because there's teamwork doesn't mean the guy, the mom becomes like the what do you call it? Has the role of the husband, and right, everybody has a role. It's just the way it is, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know, it just has to function properly.
I feel like both parents have a role towards their kids.
Yeah.
I feel like that role should be very similar. I don't think there should be discrepancies in that role, like so much as I've experienced it. If there's a balance and if the kids are feeling love from their parents the same way from both parents, you know, at the end of the day, you're also different people, right? You're not gonna give love the same way.
Yeah.
But, you know, as long as you're feeling like there's attention paid to you and it's not just, you know, the guy is going to get the bread.
No, 100%.
Right? Some balance.
But
I
thing,
understand.
Like, for me, I can't deny biology either, right? Like, as much as I do come from my dad,
where you're coming from.
like, I was in my mother's womb, and that changes things too, right? That's what I want people to understand.
It's
like
a completely different connection.
Yeah, it's a connection. That's what I'm saying. Like, as much as the father can, because I know I have friends who are fathers. They're amazing fathers. They're like, they wouldn't be like back home. They would be seen as like feminized, yeah, right?
You'll be praising the guys for the bare minimum.
Yeah, exactly, right? So like, I've seen that, and I think that's okay, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't, you can't change biology. You just can't, you know? And sometimes, like, let's say the connection I have with my mom, it's just different, you know? And again, it's what you're saying. It's just, there's so many factors. The way my dad was raised, like, he was raised in a war, a civil war as well. Like, all that come together.
Yeah.
Right?
So do you feel like guys has just been conditioned as well to feel, I mean, biology is there, like you said, and from the beginning of time, men have been providers and women have been caregivers, right? But now, like we're discussing here, times have changed. We don't really necessarily need to work that way anymore.
Yeah.
So do you feel like the way that you have been brought up as a man compared to how I have been brought up as a woman changes your behavior?
Yeah, 100%. But this is the thing. I saw the incoming signs. Like an example, like if that saying, like my dad said it, like he hasn't said it to me recently, but when I was younger, he's like, no, you gotta toughen up.
Yeah.
Like, that's an example of something
I never
wouldn't
heard that.
tell. Yeah, I wouldn't say that to anybody, you know?
Actually, no. One time my dad said that. I was being bullied at school.
But it was more like as a dude.
Yeah, no. My dad's like, I was being bullied at school, and he's like, just punch them in the face. And my mom's like, no, you got to use your words. Like, what words? You know?
But this is the thing. I'll give you an example.
He only had girls too, so maybe he was like, you know, I got to do something with these girls.
But that's a perfect example. I had the same example, right? This is why maybe like this data, I guess, backs up what I'm saying. Like, I was being bullied too by two guys. And I would tell my mom. My mom was like, oh no, mijo. Like, she would like hug me. She said, I'm going to go talk to your principal. And this and this. My dad, like, he literally, he's like, what are they doing? I'm like, this and this and this. It's like, defend yourself.
Yeah.
That's all he said. Okay, so the next day, these kids, like, in the playground, they started beating me, whatever. I get up, I grab one of the kids, I start pummeling him, and his boy comes, whatever.
Go on.
Okay, so that, you know what's funny? Like, I got like bruises, whatever, like in my, no bleeding, whatever. I got bruises in my head. They never bullied me again.
Yeah.
So again, like, maybe people gonna be like, oh, but maybe that's an example of a father having, or even if it's the roles are reversed. I said the mom being like, defend yourself.
Yeah.
I think there always has to be that balance, right? Because you can't have two people saying, "Oh my God, mijo," like treating you like a little glass.
Gonna be a jelly bean.
Exactly, or vice versa, treating you like a hard ass, right? Like saying like, "Oh yeah, go shoot the guy." You know, you can't have that either, right?
Not everyone is the same either, right? Like the way that I started defending myself, a lot of people don't have that in them. They need a lot more. But it's hard to say that too, because you're almost defining people that way, right? You're almost saying, oh, you're just the type of person that will never be able to get out of that space. I don't like that. Never mind.
everybody has a
erase that thought.
everybody has a way. Like I was recently telling someone, I learned how to defend myself. Like I mean, in that situation, yeah, like I did fight back, but I've learned to defend myself with my words.
Yeah.
I think I know how to make someone feel stupid with words rather than my fists, because I've been in this environment with family and friends where violence is the answer. So I'm like, you know what? I see that's not ever the answer. So I'm gonna, like I told you, I learned from the mistakes of others. So violence doesn't amount to nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna like talk and make people feel stupid if they're making me feel stupid, in order so they can learn something. That's better than like just slapping them or punching them for me.
That's been always my to-go too. I actually never been in a fight, but I always go like, yeah, so what's your problem? Yeah, go ahead. Punch me. Go ahead. You know, like I'm definitely an instigator, but I feel like because I seem so confident, people just kind of back out all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. But using your words is so much more powerful.
100%.
Words kill, like, what is it? Sticks and stones might break my bones. But your words were never, hurt me, but they will. Right?
Yeah, if you're quippy enough.
Because unless, I mean, you are in the ridicule when someone hurts you like that.
I learned one thing. It's like never like never get into an argument that like, I lied. So I live by these words. It's like, I don't ever start an argument, even if I'm right. Because the moment you start an argument, you have the potential to lose it. Because then somebody could just walk away and then you're just there arguing with yourself. So you get what I'm saying? Like, so I've
been left arguing with myself.
Exactly. So the only reason you lose an argument is because you argue back. So that's what I'm saying. Like, let's say if somebody's yelling at you.
You just don't like losing, eh?
I don't. That's the thing. That's like, I don't like losing. I don't like being wrong, which is why whenever I do see something bad, I fix it right away. Because I don't like, and the reason why is not because I think highly of myself, is because I want to help others. How can I help them if I'm wrong? Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, how can I help people if I have the wrong data, if I have the wrong mentality? So I want to be right as fast as possible, as much as possible. So when I help my brother, my sister, my friends, I know it's gonna help them. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. But any last things you want to say? Bottom. Anything you want to say?
I don't know. I feel like we definitely reveried into.
Yes, we did.
Into the other types of love.
Collaboration.
This is what happens at Reverie, guys. But listen, this was a great conversation. I loved it. About Eros love, I don't know, man. I just feel like what I take from this conversation is the most important thing about loving others is loving yourself first, and not looking for that in other people, right? And also be respectful of how other people love, because we all love different ways. And if we're trying to be in a relationship with someone else that we do care about and we love deeply, we have to ask them, and it's through communication,
100%.
right, that we come to a really good relationship and a good ending where it's not you're not fighting with the person I feel like, I don't know if you see this in your household, but like you're saying, it's like I try to run away from fights all the time. But a lot of times it's not even running away from fights, but it's getting through a consent or through a mutual place, through conversation, instead of yelling at each other. Going back to what we said, instead of waiting to talk, listen.
Yeah, and that's what I would leave everybody with. Like, everybody has a love language. Everybody, like you said, everybody has a different way to give love, which means that everybody has a different way to receive love. You know?
I feel like through through my years, a lot of times I thought, oh, you don't love me because you are seeing you're seeing other people, or right, and like it goes back to cheating and stuff like that. But I was never cheated on because I was never in a relationship.
You can never be cheated on if you're never.
I mean, can you? That's
smart.
another.
That's smart.
Right?
That's a life hack right there.
Oh, definitely. Don't get in a relationship and you don't get cheated on.
Exactly.
But I used to think that you can't love multiple people, but I love a lot of people, like, deeply, and I've had Eros feelings from different people at the same time. Am I gonna go into a marriage with two people? That's definitely not my plan. That would be a headache and a half. Oh my god, let me tell you. But no,
Okay.
I guess it's a conversation for another time.
That's I'm so interested to know. Oh my god! But we're out of time. We actually have to talk about that. The next one. I really want to know.
The next episode.
That's a good hook. That's a good hook. To make sure people tune in for the next time. But so that's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you everyone for joining. Happy to have Mia from Reverie Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Where do we
Yes, guys. Find me and Octavio at Reverie Hotline, and that's on Instagram. You can always find us at YouTube as well. Right now that's a little stopped, but we'll see where that goes. There's some nice emojis there if you guys want to check
some
out.
good topics too that I find interesting.
Yeah, and we're gonna do a very similar thing we're doing here. We're just gonna go into a variety of topics and kind of get lost in thoughts. Reverie, getting lost in thoughts.
So that's amazing, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Remember that chaos is unavoidable, but we're here to shine some light on the craziness of the world, try to bring some clarity with the various topics that we discuss. So catch you guys on the next time on the Out of Chaos podcast.
Whoop whoop.